Hey everyone, today we're talking about the Han Dynasty, one of the most important times in Chinese history. It lasted for about 400 years and helped shape Chinese culture in a big way. Even now, most people in China call themselves Han people because of this dynasty. Let's explore how it all started and why it's so significant. The Han Dynasty was started by Liu Bang, a man who wasn't rich or powerful when he was born. He worked his way up during the fall of the Qin dynasty, which had very strict laws that made life hard for people. When the Qin emperor died in 209 BCE, there were rebellions all over China. Liu Bang stood out as a leader because he was kind and fair. His main rival, Xiang Yu, was a strong general but lost support because he was cruel. In the end, Liu Bang became the first emperor of the Han Dynasty. People remember him by the names Gaodi or Gaosu, which mean High Emperor and High Progenitor. Liu Bang faced two big challenges as emperor. The first was dealing with the Xiongnu, a group of fierce nomads from the north. They were expert horsemen and kept attacking Han lands. In 201 BCE, Liu Bang lost a battle against them. Instead of continuing to fight, he decided to make peace. The Han government signed the Hekin Treaty, agreeing to send food, silk, and silver to the Xiongnu and even marry princesses to their leaders. This agreement kept the peace for over 60 years. The second challenge was fixing problems within the empire. Years of war and high taxes under the Qin had left people poor and tired. Liu Bang lowered land taxes and introduced fairer policies to help farmers recover. He also balanced how the empire was governed. Half of the land was directly controlled by the central government, while the other half was given to loyal allies as princedoms. This helped keep the peace and made sure different regions were stable. After Liu Bang died, his wife Empress Liu continued many of his policies as regent. One of the most famous rulers of the Han Dynasty was Emperor Wu, or Han Wudi. He became emperor at just 16 years old, and ruled for over 50 years. Unlike the earlier emperors, he didn't want to make peace with the Xiongnu. Instead, he led military campaigns to drive them back and expand the empire's territory. Many people see his reign as the high point of Han power and influence. At home, Emperor Wu made big changes to stop rich merchants from taking advantage of ordinary people. These merchants had grown very wealthy by avoiding taxes and buying up farmland. Emperor Wu taxed them heavily, banned them from owning land, and took control of important industries like salt, liquor, and iron. He also created a system to keep grain prices stable, which helped prevent food shortages and speculation. These changes strengthened the economy and gave the emperor more control. Emperor Wu also wanted to expand China's influence beyond its borders. He sent a man named Zhang Qian on a dangerous mission to Central Asia to find allies against the Xiongnu. Although Zhang didn't get the alliances Emperor Wu wanted, he discovered new trade opportunities. This marked the start of the Silk Road, a trade route connecting China to Central Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. It wasn't just goods like silk that traveled along this route. Ideas, such as Buddhism, also spread from India to China. Under Emperor Wu, the Han Dynasty grew larger than ever. Chinese armies took over areas in what are now Inner Mongolia and Xinjiang. They also expanded into northern Korea and parts of Vietnam and southern China. The Great Wall was extended, and protectorates were set up in Central Asia. This time of peace and prosperity in Asia is called the Pax Sinica, similar to the Pax Romana in the Roman Empire. Trade flourished, with camel caravans and ships connecting China to many parts of the world. And the Han Dynasty wasn't just about wars or trade. It was a time of profound philosophical growth and cultural achievements that shaped China for centuries to come. When Liu Bang became the first Han emperor, he aimed to ease the suffering of the people after the harsh rule of the Qin dynasty. He abolished the Qin's strict legalist policies, which had caused widespread resentment. Although Liu Bang himself didn't strictly follow one ideology, he welcomed Confucian scholars to his court. These scholars not only educated his children, but also designed ceremonies and rituals that gave the government a sense of dignity and fairness. This was just the beginning of Confucianism's influence in Han China. Later, Emperor Wu took Confucianism to the next level. He made it the official state philosophy, ensuring that Confucian ideas became central to how the government worked. With the guidance of a brilliant scholar named Dong Zhongshu, Emperor Wu established a state university where students studied Confucian teachings. This university wasn't just a school, it was a key part of shaping future leaders. To get a government job, people had to pass exams based on Confucian classics. By the middle of the 2nd century CE, the university had grown to over 30,000 students, proving how deeply Confucianism had rooted itself in Han society. This system of education and exams would remain a cornerstone of Chinese governance for nearly 2 millennia. But Confucianism wasn't the only philosophy shaping life during the Han Dynasty. Daoism was also popular, offering a more spiritual and personal approach to life. Many people practiced a mix of Daoism, ancestor worship, and local religious traditions. Around the same time, Buddhism began to make its way into China. It arrived via the Silk Road and by sea routes, initially practiced by non-Chinese traders and settlers. Over time, Buddhism and Daoism started borrowing ideas and rituals from each other, blending in ways that helped both traditions grow stronger. This cultural exchange added even more richness to the spiritual life of Han China. Literature and history also flourished during the Han Dynasty. Some of China's greatest historians lived during this period, leaving behind works that are still admired today. One of the most famous historians was Sima Qian, who wrote a monumental book called Records of the Grand Historian. This work tells the history of China from its earliest times up to the Han Dynasty. Its detailed storytelling and organization set the standard for Chinese historiography. Another influential family, the Ban family, produced the Book of Han, a comprehensive history of the Western Han period. Written by Ban Biao and completed by his children Ban Gu and Ban Zhao, this work became another classic. Together, these historians created a legacy of historical writing that shaped how history was recorded in China for generations. Life in Han China was vibrant and industrious. By the year 1 CE, the population had grown to over 56 million people. Most of these people were farmers, living in small families of about 5 or 6 members. Farming was the backbone of Han society, with men working the fields while women raised silkworms and made silk cloth. Silk wasn't just a household item, it was one of China's most valuable exports, traded along the famous Silk Road. The government actively supported farmers by building irrigation systems, opening up new farmland, and encouraging the use of better farming tools and techniques. State-owned industries also played a major role in producing salt, iron, and silk. These industries helped drive the economy, and large trading caravans carried goods to distant lands. However, life wasn't easy for everyone. Earlier Han rulers tried to protect small farmers, but over time the wealthy began to exploit the poor. This led to the rise of large estates and the eviction of many small farmers, creating serious social and economic problems. These issues contributed to unrest and peasant rebellions, which weakened the empire over time. While most women in Han China focused on family life, some held significant power, especially within the imperial court. Empresses like Empress Liu played critical roles, often acting as rulers when their sons were too young to govern. These powerful women sometimes clashed with emperors, who tried to escape their influence by giving authority to trusted eunuchs. Unfortunately, corrupt eunuchs often misused their power, further destabilizing the government. The Han Dynasty officially ended in 220 CE, but its legacy lives on. From its promotion of Confucianism to its advancements in literature, trade, and governance, the Han Dynasty laid the foundation for much of what we recognize as Chinese culture today.